Morning, and welcome to How to Buy Your First Investment Property. I'm Brogan Lambert, and I recently bought my first investment property. So, in all these things, I wanna start off on the right. I wanna say, this is what I really want to make sure that by the end of this video you understand what it is, and this is my promise to you. I promise by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what steps you need to take to get your first investment property. Now, I've labeled it a bold promise, and yes, it is a bold promise. As I'm sure you've probably did a little bit of research on this, or you've at least spoken to some people about it, and you've had a conversation around how do you go about buying an investment property. And it becomes a very interesting thing, and it becomes very confusing when you get started. In the beginning, it's like, ah, no, guys, you just need pre-approval, you need to get your loan, and boom, you got a property. At least that's how we think it works, but we all know better than that now, don't we? Now, there's many reasons for wanting a property. We all have these internal things, these internal goals for ourselves, for our families that make us want more in life. These are the things we want. We've always imagined ourselves a certain way. And you reach a point in life where your perception of yourself and who you are differs from what the reality is. And when you start to try and align those two things, you realize, no, this doesn't fit. Hey, I thought deep down I'm a bodybuilder, but like I like me some Heineken. So this was the defining thing for me. This was the thing that got me started. So I want to welcome you. I want to thank you. I want to say, you know what, you've taken the first step to getting there. You really have. It's the small little steps daily that continue to build up and continue to make these steps, these movements, these things that ultimately get you to where it is you need to be and where it is you want to be. So don't undermine these little steps that you take, these small little notes you read here, this little thing you learn here, someone told you this, you research that, a little video here. It's all these small things that accumulate, and they really do make a wealth of knowledge over time. So well done to that. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself, my origin story, my how I got my first investment property. So that gorgeous woman right there, she's my partner, my love, my joy, my everything. When when we met, we had a lot of things going on, right? We met on campus. We were both studying to be industrial engineers. She far more accomplished than me. Some days I feel like she a little too far ahead, especially because when you do the same thing as your partner, you tend to understand a lot more. Like I'm sure it's a lot different when you're seeing someone and you don't really know what they do. Okay, she a chemical engineer, she work in a call center, and then you don't really have the background, the understanding, and the know-how of these industries to say, I understand you, babe. I really understand what's wrong. I understand what's upsetting you. Now, with this newfound knowledge, you find that when someone's talking, especially when you disagree on a general concept, it can get very heated, at least between us. So early in our relationship, we had a couple of goals. Like I never wanted to be my parents, and I love my parents, but it's both of them. They both got their stuff about them, but a lot of the things they did are things that I myself didn't want to do. I studied industrial engineering because my mom told me, "Hey, look, you can't sit at home and do nothing. Pick something and do it. I don't care what you pick." Then I'm like, I don't know what to do. So she's like, "Ah, no, go be an industrial engineer." So I'm like, "Oh, ding ding, here we are, industrial engineer." But that's a story for another time. So we reached a point where we had discussed the things that we both knew we wanted, the things that we both knew we needed in order to progress in life. And we wanted to know, how did our goals all align, and whether or not we were going to have a problem. So one of the key things back then for us was we really needed a property for very different reasons, strangely enough. I wanted one because I have this perception, this maybe not so much lifestyle, because like I just really enjoy doing things. I enjoy making things. I enjoy working at things. And one thing I felt that an investment property could give me was more options in the long run. Like we all understand, it's a property. It's something that's meant to last. It's not something that's quick. It's not something that's easy. It's something that is an investment to say, you know what, guys, if I do these things correctly right now, at that later point in my life, I'll have something to fall back on, something that can hold me in place, something that can keep me in check. And for her, it was a lot different. So time went on, we went through the whole lockdown situation, and in lockdown we spent, I think I was in lockdown for about 6, 7 weeks, and 3 weeks in, she was deemed to be, essential services. They make labels and some shit like that where she works. So, we all want to eat Millie meals, so it is what it is. We wanted our porridge. She went back to work. But during the 3 weeks, when it started, I thought I'm gonna have all this time. I thought, I got 3 weeks. I'm gonna start a business. I'm gonna have a property. I'm gonna do all these things. And in these 3 weeks where I had nothing to do, the 3 weeks came. The 3 weeks went. At the end of the 3 weeks, I did nothing. I literally just watched Money Heist and made breakfast at like 2 in the morning. Yes, I know. But anyway, so after the 3 weeks, I realized, you know what? These were all the issues I had in the beginning. It was the money, it was the time, it was the money and the time. So lockdown hit. I had a lot more extra cash from the UIF, from work, from all these places. So a whole lot of money came together, and yeah, I blew it all. I blew it quite quickly. Lots of alcohol in the beginning. Then thereafter, we were making our own alcohol, and at the end of the 3 weeks, nothing had happened. She went back to work. I was alone, so I thought to myself, I'm alone now. I'm not going to have all these distractions. She's not going to be here looking all cute for herself. 2 weeks went by, nothing happened. This is week number 5 so far. 6 week went by, still nothing. By the 7th week, I'd returned back to work with like staggered. So it was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I think it was half weeks like that. I was working half a month. In the half month of work, still nothing happened. Fast forward like 10 weeks and I'm full time back at work and I've done nothing. I used up all the money I had. I used up all the time I had and I did nothing. I literally just watched anime and I watched Netflix pretty much the whole lockdown. Then it hit me that, you know what? The money, the time, and all those things, they were just random excuses I was making because I knew I wasn't gonna then capitalize on the time, the availability, and the things like that because it comes, it goes, and nothing happens. So fast forward like 2 weeks after that. This is early June of last year, shortly after my birthday. That was when I just drew a line in the sand. I said, no, look, we're gonna buy this place. This place gonna be rented out, and it's gonna be done this year. We got into it. We searched. We did a lot of searching. Found a place. We did the things, and I got one. That was it. It was literally that little switch in mindset, that little changeover to say that we're here now. Fuck it. It's not working. We're gonna be there. And that's how we moved forward from there. Now I'm sure you're wondering what what changed? What changed between when I had made the decision and when I hadn't made the decision? And for me it's difficult to pinpoint because I've always been someone who really enjoyed tackling new projects. Like if a friend called me up and he said, "Hey, bro, we selling G strings," like I'm there. Like I'm just that kind of person. But I feel like a lot of me was spent trying to further other people's dreams, other people's goals. And I guised it as following my own thing, but whenever it was time for me to go out and do something for myself, all of a sudden I got slow. I got lazy. I started having excuses. There's no money, there's no this, there's no time. And it reached a point during lockdown where I realized, you know what? If all this time can go about, if all these weeks can go where I literally have nothing to do except learn and accumulate that knowledge and that growth and really take it up to that next level, and I still didn't do it, then what was the real issue here? Was the issue time? Was the issue money? Was the issue knowledge, resources? No, the issue was my internal mindset. Deep down, I don't think I believed I could do it. No, in fact, no. I knew I couldn't do it. It and I had to just rephrase that, because often when you don't think you can do something, it's a lot different from when you know you can't do something. Whether or not it's true, that's neither here nor there. But internally, if you like, for instance, I'm not a fast runner. Like, I need to get myself to the gym. I know I cannot finish 2Ks in an hour. Nah, 2Ks in 10 minutes probably. That's a better ratio. See, that's how little I run. So when you reach that point, when you reach that understanding, when you deal with that internal story, that story, your personal origin story, that where you from, what are the things that are making you act the way you act, and you need to weigh it out. You need to say, okay, I want this investment property. I know this investment property is going to take time, it's going to take energy, it's going to take money. On the inverse, I'm scared. I'm scared I might lose everything. I'm scared I might not make a good deal. I'm scared I might not get the loan. I'm scared my credit score is crap. I'm scared my family. There's so many things that start to layer on that it becomes a daunting task. It honestly does. And I'd be lying if I said that all the way through I remained sane. There were times, okay, I'm going off on a tangent a little bit here, but shortly after I got the property, because of how it was structured and when it happened, we found ourselves getting a property, and there was COVID. There were all these new regulations. People didn't want to go out. People didn't want to rent new places. It reached a very scary point because we had spent so much money that we needed this tenant, and I'm here. I'm trying to remain like as calm as humanly possible. My girlfriend, she's stressed. She's telling me, "Hey, no, bro, what happens if this happens and this happens and this happens?" And then I'm like, "No, don't worry, it'll come right." Meanwhile, deep down, I'm burning, guys. I'm like like I wasn't coping when she watches this. I think I'm in for a conversation, but there were tough days. Like I don't want to lie. There's still tough days. I'm in the middle of some tough days. So the tough days don't end. But you've got to come at it from, this is who I am. This is what I want. And I understand that by wanting this, these are the implications. These are the things that I need to do. Let's jump ahead. Another thing I want to tackle is our own internal beliefs, and I touched on it. I touched on it a little bit earlier. And when I say internal beliefs, I mean this is largely what you think about yourself, how you behave by yourself. And for me, the biggest thing that really helped me overcome my internal story, my story that made me not have that confidence, that belief in myself, was understanding why I was doing something. Now, often when we begin something, we always we go to the classic answers, the answers of it's for my family, it's for my parents, it's for my partner, it's for me, it's for all these people. But really, it's for you, and it's important that you understand that your happiness, your growth, your belief, your stories is what makes the people around you happy. fair enough, we want to have more money, we want to have this extra layer of wealth, but at the same time, we also want to be there for our people. And you need to understand that different things take away from different things. So choices need to be made, conversations need to be had. Perhaps you're in a relationship and your partner's not as comfortable as my partner was going along with this. And you find yourself in a new position. Then it's almost like you're at odds when really you're not. It's just different belief structures, different thinking systems that hold us to different standards of life. So one of the key things that really helped me get over this was having a clear goal. Now, when I say a clear goal, I mean naturally your goal is to get the property, but it needs to be extremely clear to you. There must never be a point where you get to use your own discretion. Which I know, yes, it doesn't sound right, but bear with me for a second. So when you begin searching, it becomes an incredibly tedious process. And unless you have some extremely intense internal fortitude, at some point you're gonna start to give. And that's where this clear goal in mind comes in. So my goal was I simply didn't want to lose money. Like I understand that investing has its pros, investing has its cons. But what I didn't want was I didn't want to enter something with my girlfriend and have it be a loss. Because I felt if that happened, I felt like it would prove to be validating in a lot of ways for her because she's not as risk orientated as me and she supports me in anything and everything I do. Like she is just that much of a champion. So I really wanted to live up to her beliefs, her expectations, and her trust in me because that's really what it was. It was trust. She put money down, and even if she didn't put money down, she was still impacted because we live together. If I go broke, chances are she's already broke too because we're just that connected. We just have that much stuff going for us. So it was very important to me that I could at least show her that, you know what, this can work. We can get into this and lose no money. And yes, we managed to do exactly that. We got in there and we turned positive. That was it. That was the only goal, and that allowed her to have proof of concept, and not only her but me, because although I was there and I'm the one pushing and I'm the one pushing and I'm the one pushing, I also was just as confused. I knew even less probably than her because I tried to focus on the key things. I tried to focus on the stuff that I knew that if I looked at the stuff and I worked on the stuff, it would work for me. I happened to find the right people with the right knowledge, and I was able to integrate these various things. There was so much going on. There was so much knowledge. There were so many real estate agents and bond agents, and it was just a sorry for the language, but a clusterfuck. And you're in the middle of this clusterfuck and you're trying to ascertain this is good, this is good, all of that is bad, and you're trying not to be swindled, you're trying not to have things go wrong externally with everyone you're dealing with, and internally you've also got to keep yourself. So with that clear goal, whenever you're confused in a deal, you always pull out this little sheet of paper, and this little sheet of paper says, my goal is to not lose money. And you go and you look at your problem, and your problem says to you, okay, the attorney wants a little bit more than we anticipated, right? Then you've got to look, how does this impact my personal goal? And depending on how it impacts your goal, then you act. But you've got to stay with your goal in mind and always work with that as your reference. Otherwise, you'll find yourself giving way because confusion breeds, um, complacency. And you find yourself that's how you get swindled, that's how things go wrong, that's how people see and stuff doesn't work out and things like that. So internally, a lot of things we deal with is money. Money is a huge factor. Like it was a huge factor before, but ever since COVID hit and the UIF died out, everyone started to pull back their spend in property and food, everything. If you've been fortunate enough to have an upturn in COVID, then you know what, well done to you. But I've been out here, I've been seeing what's happening. During COVID, I live on the bluff, so during COVID, there was this one granny, and she'd always be walking around every day asking for stuff. Like it's really intense. And when you see things like this, it becomes difficult for you to act from a place of reason because you see it happening to other people, and you're like, if if I don't control myself, if I don't watch what I do, then this could end badly for me too. I mean, if I get retrenched, we went through a retrenchment, and that wrecked me, especially because they wanted to retrench me, but 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 there was just there was so much going on. Like I know I'm laughing, and I really do apologize if you were retrenched. But when I think back to the intensity of retrenchment for me, it was something that it was very difficult to manage. Like fuck it, I'm 24. This is my first retrenchment. What do I know about retrenchments? It's like my second or third job that I can really call a job. The other ones were just like me messing around. And then I find out, oh no, my GM would prefer he got rid of me. And then I was like, oh, okay, so that's how it is out here, right? Now the part that makes it funny, right, is I don't know if I'm sharing stuff I shouldn't be sharing, but anyway, the part that makes it funny here is I was in charge of the calculation of determining, you know what, how much people can we manage to sustain this little bit of business we had. And it it was intense. So you do the calculation, and then you just also get thrown in there too. So it was it, it was rough. I don't know what to say to my partner. I don't know how to behave. I'm literally out here just nodding my head, saying, you know what, everything's gonna be okay. I'm at work. I'm still working. I'm still doing these things. I know these things in the back of my head, but I'm behaving as if these things aren't real, as if these things aren't happening. They aren't happening to me. I'm still going out there. I'm still putting out my best foot forward because that was all I knew how to do. I didn't have any skills, any techniques, any know-hows. Like thinking on it now, I could have probably done a lot more things better. But I'm most proud of how I'm able to maintain this 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 level of work. Because what happened when the Section 189 was announced, we experienced a sharp drop in production. And with that drop, we couldn't complain really because everyone was in this place of fear. Everyone was in this place of, you know what am I gonna do without my job? And production fell. Like it, we were all worried. Uh, so when I look at all these situations, what keeps coming back to me is I would have really loved to have someone hold my hand through it. Someone I could trust. Because I tell you this now, and I don't say it to be mean, but real estate agents cannot be trusted. They just can't. They're operating from a different place than you. They're trying to sell you something at the highest price possible. You trying to buy it at the lowest price possible. So it looking back at the things I did and the things I asked and the things I said, I realized that from the get-go, they want the people I could rely on. Looking back at it now externally, I could have gotten a much better deal on my property with the later knowledge that eventually showed up. Let's jump forward. I want to dive in here to our next topic. Sorry, I'm so with everything I've said, I think one of the keys, one of the focus points I really want to hop on is knowledge is key, and having the right knowledge from the right people at the right time can be financially imperative. I have a story. This actually literally just hit me today. So I had to get my tires changed, and the tires were worn strangely. So it was worn like inwards. So that's normally when there's an issue with alignment. So if the alignment's off, your wheels could sit slightly in like that and things like that. And then there was another thing, the rim, because we were in an accident a while back. The rim was slightly off, which gave us a small shudder. Like when you hit 120, it starts go. You'll hear it. It's not anything like major loud or anything, but you could notice that there really was a difference and that something was off. So back into this car. So I paid for the service. It cost me about 4,500. This is on the Grand i10 now. And then I was told, no, there's an issue with the clutch, there's an issue with the this, there's an issue with the that, because I took it back and I said, hey, look, this thing's not driving the way it used to, fix it. There was no power coming in and things like that. I paid 4.5 for the service. I paid 8.5 for the clutch and some stuff. You know, I ain't a car person. I paid some stuff, right? And then I paid 1,600 and some change today, right? So that was to change only the front two tires because they're just warped poorly, and the wheel alignments and then to thing. I visited, I think it was Tiger Wheel and Tires down here on Edwin Swales. I'm not sure. Maybe that's not the right one. And when I looked online, they were charging me almost 4,000. Right? And then I'm like, okay, fine. That's a little over 4,000, I think, for all four tires. And then I'm like, okay, fine. You know, just tell me about the front two because those were the ones that ended up worn, right? So it came back and it was like 2,700, 2,800, almost 3,000. I'm like, guys, what's the difference here? Like, really, what's the difference? And then I came down here. There's Mal's down here, and Mal's normally does everyone in this area. Like, he's just one of those guys. And then I get there, I meet the guy. Now, the guy who's repairing, right? And he's changing the tires, and then he points this problem out. He points this out. And then I tell him about all my other expenses because all these expenses came in the last couple of days. And he's like, hey, if only you knew, you could have just come to me. I'd have told you what the problem was. I wouldn't have charged you probably more than 2,000 to fix it, plus parts, whatever the parts cost was, depending on what I buy now. So what it's made clear for me is that it's really critical that we know and we understand what really are we paying for, how much does it actually cost, and you only know those things by dealing with people who are constantly within those flows, within those realms. Like I'm not a car person. Like I really am not a car person. So when people be telling me, no, the this and the this and the this, he tells me, no, the wheel's shaking because they put it on to test. And I'm like, so yeah, what must happen? So he says, you're the customer. I'm like, no, I don't know nothing about cars. I don't know about tires. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here giving you my money so that you solve my problem. I just know there's a problem. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what it is. So that's where it occurred to me that it's really beneficial when you know who to call for what and when. That's the best way to save yourself money. How much would I have saved myself if I just had the right knowledge, the right know-how, the right numbers to call? I probably do. I'm sure if I go through my contacts, I'm sure I can call someone who knows something. But I don't know that. They know it until I call and I ask them. So with that in mind, I've put together the how to buy your first investment property course. And I want to be very clear, this course is still in the development stage. So this is actually a pre-sale course. It's more, I'm trying to work on it in such a fashion that it's applicable to many people and I can roll it out on a larger scale. So with that in mind, it's a very condensed populace. This is sort of like the beta group, because I really want to work hand in hand with the people who use the course, because naturally we all from different areas, we all from different backgrounds, mindsets, financial statuses. So I really want something that can click for different people, and I know that all my knowledge isn't enough. So if I can work hand in hand with those people, we can really put together something that works for you guys. Mm, that's really what this aim is. So I want to offer this to you. I really want it to be something that helps you. I really want your hand to be held, which is exactly what I wanted for myself, because it would have really saved me personally. Now, there's many reasons for wanting help. There's many reasons for wanting to know stuff. But for me, one of the big things is money, right? Because of the nature of this course, naturally you're investing. You want to know where do you spend your money and where don't you spend your money, and where can you shimmy through, where can you find these different workarounds to get yourself an investment without breaking bank. And that's really what this course is about. So I've thought very carefully of the things I want to include, the things I want to put there, and at the same time, I know that this is an ever-changing list. But these are firm things, these are confirmed things, these are things I'm already working on, and access will be given pretty much as soon as everything's available. Shouldn't take me more than a month to have everything up and running. But if you happen to find yourself involved with the program, you gotta know that I'll be in touch with you on a regular basis. So one of the first things you'll get if you decide to take this offer on is you're gonna get unlimited access to the creation process. Now, when I say unlimited access, I mean you understand that when something's being made, the end results and what it took to get there normally are not tied hand in hand. Normally, you want to take, I want to condense it so that it's as easy as possible, it's as simple as possible. There's not too many complex terms, methodologies, and mathematics, which will just, I don't know about you guys, but these different things are and can be very confusing. So within that and within being involved in the creation process, I'm hoping it'll give a lot more insight, it'll give a lot more value, and it'll give a lot more appreciation to exactly what it is that's going on. The next thing you'll get if you get involved with this is live monthly coaching. Now, this one is a definite must. It's happening because things happen so often and so frequently that what something means today doesn't necessarily mean the same thing tomorrow. And we need these monthly get-togethers where we can refresh, we can rephrase, and we can make sure that we're all on the same page, and that you're continuing to push towards your goals, push towards getting your property, getting a tenant in there, and getting that cash flowing to repeat the cycle. Hopefully, get your second, your third, your fourth property, and you're gonna need that something that's really gonna hold you there. So it'll be a place where we have a community of people doing exactly what you're doing. So you can see how different people are doing things differently and how they're managing to achieve their goals. After that, the next one, and this one, like, I really wish I knew this going in. It costs me a lot of money not knowing certain things. Negotiation tactics and scripts. Now, I don't know about you, maybe this is obvious and maybe I'm just a little bit silly, but I didn't know you had so much room to negotiate, so much room to complain, to dispute, to say that no, this is where I draw the line. I'm gonna need you to stop there. Unfortunately, I can't cope with that, and I never knew how to word myself, how to phrase myself. When was it time to negotiate? Who should I listen to? Who shouldn't I listen to? I was just consuming everything and then trying to disseminate and saying, not you, okay, you, and like that. So I'm trying to package it in such a fashion that you know exactly what to say when you're phoning these agents, when you're in contact with these sellers. You know what the seller's looking for, what you're looking for, and you try to figure out a way to give the seller what they want without taking away from what it is you have and what it is you want to give. Next one is the property analysis masterclass. And this one goes hand in hand with the property analysis spreadsheet. So my partner and my investment partner, my life partner, my absolute angel, has put together quite an intense spreadsheet, a spreadsheet that simplifies how you basically sift through all the various properties. So there's different ways to see that, is this even worth looking into? You need to know instantly. You cannot do a complete analysis on every property. So you need that something that's going to say to you, okay, this is worth looking at, and this is where you really need to put your focus, because there stands to be some gains here. There stands to be some cash flowing. And the spreadsheet simplifies it in such a way that you just put in the details and it spits out all the information that you'd otherwise have to then learn and all the back end mathematics. But I've tried to keep it in such a fashion that even the formulae makes sense. So I understand no one really ever wants to just put their stuff in and get given it and not really know how it works. So the masterclass goes through, how do you analyze a property? And then it shows you how we've condensed that analysis within the spreadsheet. And it's actually turning out to be something I'm quite passionate about, because I'm an engineer, she's an engineer. So we work a lot with maths, we work a lot with spreadsheets, databases, MISs, things like that. So where the maths is concerned, that's really where I want to emphasize. I really want to put as much value as humanly possible here. I want to make sure that when you get involved, you know and you understand that this is what it is. And then there's a couple of bonuses, and I understand this is more at a later stage than it is in the beginning, but rental management plan. So I don't know about you, but before this property, I'd never rented out anything in my life. But I knew that there were issues because of all the various people I'd spoken to and the things they told me about their properties, much like the story of my previous landlord and the hole in her ceiling the tenants left. So the rental management, it gives you a firm understanding of how your finances are flowing. Where can you squeeze in the event that there's a situation that requires you to squeeze? And that's really what having an investment should be. It should be allowing you to have these latitudes, these feelings, these changes in your life that allow you to do more, that allow you to give back to those people you want to give back to those situations, those organizations. That's really what you want from an investment. You want to invest your time, your effort, your money, and you want to see those returns. Another bonus will be the rental secret scripts. Now, when you meet people, some people are very charismatic, and it becomes difficult to understand what type of person you need, what type of person you want as a renter, and what are the things you say to uncover those things, to work around those things, to see that, okay, this person's just spinning me a story, and they're not really here to provide value. The last value add I really wanted to put in here was a tenant screening masterclass. Now, there are agencies you can pay to do this. There really are. You can just pay them, they'll do it for you, and they'll hand you a tenant. Or, if I'm not mistaken, I used, I think it was Rawson, if I'm not mistaken. Absolutely useless, but yes, that's who I tried to use, and they wanted 10%. They wanted 10% of the rental amount upfront. So I'm like, no, sorry, not upfront, once they found the tenant. But then what I realized was they had no real incentive to give me someone good, and there's no guarantees in place to say, you know what, if we give you a tenant and the tenant goes sideways and things go crooked and it just turns into a clusterfuck, then we'll give you your money back because we understand how we've inconvenienced you. So while it's okay for you to outsource that, you also need to have some level of understanding of how these things work, because at the end of the day, this is your money, this is your investment, and you need to be invested. You really need to be there. You need to understand. By your fifth property, I say you outsource it by then, but you want to understand where your money is going, how it's working. But within that masterclass, we'll discuss the various tactics, the various strategies to use to get the best kind of tenants that you want, which are tenants that stay there forever and tenants who pay on time. We'll also get into how you manage disputes, how you manage repairs, things like that. There's so many things that can go wrong, and then there's so many benefits that can go right. And we really want to get into them so when they do happen to you, they don't take you aback like they did me. And there's many of these intricate things that happen within these things. Now, with all these things I want to give to you, with all these things I want to work on, I know and I understand that I really don't have the time to deal with a large group of people. So I'm limiting it to 20 people, but really I think I'm probably gonna bring it down to 10. I think for 20 at this scale, I have the time, I have the energy because I really want to have that one-on-one interaction. I really want to get into it with you. I want to watch you walk into your property and say, this is it. This is where I've come from. This is what I've done. So the total value of the course is, it's a lot. But what I'm charging is, what I want for it is I want 5,500. Now, when I first came up with that number, because I sat down with my partner, we discussed this. She's deeply involved with what I'm doing, and she was like, no, but it's expensive and it's this and it's that. And then I said, okay, if you compare all the things we paid for that we probably couldn't have paid for had we known the stuff, is it the same? And then her tune had changed a little. But what I want is, I want it to be really one-on-one. I really want to be there for you. I really want to be in your corner. And it's going to take a lot on my end to make sure that I can fulfill on those promises. And 5,500 is it's nothing to snuff at. But if you're getting involved in rental properties and investing, you know and you understand how much properties cost. It becomes a case of now you weighing out, how much am I willing to pay to not suffer and to not have as many problems as Broken had. And if you think 5,500 isn't worth it, then that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly within your right. I'll still be pushing out free content every week. So please put it to use. Please learn as much as you can and grow. But if you want someone to hold your hand, someone who's done it, someone who's here, someone who has the tenants, texting him, I'm your guy. So I'm gonna leave a link below. I want you to click the link. The link's gonna ask for your contact details. And then I wanna set up a call. I wanna call you, I wanna discuss it. I don't want it to be a situation where you just pay in advance. I wanna have that interaction with you. I wanna make sure you know and you understand. I wanna understand your goals first, and then we can take it from there. So I hope you had some level of value. If you have any questions, please just drop them in the comments. Reach out to me directly. I don't think I'm that difficult to reach. Brogan Lambert, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you can find me, check the email address, and I will respond. I'll respond as soon as I'm humanly able to. Usually in a day or two, I'm there. I'll respond. Have an amazing day. Thank you for getting this far. I hope I really have given you some value. And yes, it's all stay safe.